The story begins at a martial arts school in Beijing. At this time, Mr. Han was leading dozens of disciples in their training. Way home, they pulled out daggers and stabbed him to death. Now, the only one she had left was her youngest son, so she didn't want the tragedy to repeat itself. To make her son give up martial arts completely, she had found a job in America and was preparing to take him to New York to live. Eventually, Li Fong was reluctantly taken to New York. Everything there felt strange. After arriving at their new home, he couldn't help but think of his late brother. While his mother was still unpacking, he wanted to go out and explore the surroundings. But being used to life in China, he looked completely out of place on the streets. After walking for a while, he suddenly craved Chinese-style stuffed buns. By chance, he passed by a pizza shop and thought that since both were kinds of bread, easing the awkward tension. This incident made Li Fong develop feelings for her. The next day, he went to register at his new school. Although the process wasn't smooth, he had no choice but to adapt quickly to the new environment. After school, he ran into Mia again while she was moving things. Seeing her belongings scattered all over the ground, Li Fong quickly went to help pick them up. This action helped him gain a new friend. To show her gratitude, she quickly pulled Li Fong away from the place. Just then, a harsh voice shouted from behind. The cold-faced man leading the group demanded that Mia tell her father to repay his debt immediately. Mia gave a short reply and dragged Li Fong away. It turned out that the man was the owner of the dojo, and her father owed him a huge amount of money. Mia warned Li Fong not to get into any trouble with them. He decided to retire and devote himself completely to his family. When Li Fong got home, he thought he could hide what had happened, but his mother eventually found out everything. She warned him to quit martial arts and focus on his studies instead. She even found him a tutor to help with his schoolwork. At that moment, the only comfort he had left was the martial arts poster on his wall and the photo of his late brother. Memories of martial arts flooded his mind. Had made up his mind. He said he would only fight 2 matches. Once he won, he could pay off all his debts and continue running the pizza shop. Hearing that, Mia reluctantly agreed, though she turned to Li Fong and warned him that nothing bad must happen, or she would never forgive him. From that day on, Victor officially began his kung fu training. Li Fong poured all the knowledge he had learned throughout his life into Ti Fong. Meanwhile, Mia was moved by her father's determination. She had once believed that boxing was unrealistic, but now that belief had turned into a shining light in her father's eyes, making her start to believe that maybe this time, he truly could win. The next day, as Li Fong passed by his mother and saw his brother's photo on the table, his heart was full of conflicting emotions, unsure whether what he was doing was right or wrong. Victor noticed the heavy look on his after the match and stabbed his brother with a weapon. At that time, Li Fong was so terrified that he couldn't move, and by the time he reacted, his brother was already gravely injured. He had failed to protect him, and the guilt of that moment had haunted him ever since, replaying endlessly in his mind. The following day, Mia invited him to a music festival. However, when he arrived happily at the meeting spot, the scene before his eyes made his face change. He saw Mia walking closely with Connor, looking intimate. A wave of indescribable loss washed over him. Overwhelmed by jealousy, Li Fong left the place without saying a word. A few days later, Li Fong went to watch Victor's boxing match, but his face was full of disappointment and danger. At that moment, Li Fong's mother came up to him and scolded him harshly. Perhaps she was right. Violence only breeds more violence. When he got home, he immediately tore down his martial arts posters and threw away everything related to kung fu. He thought that the path of martial arts would only lead to the same fate as his brother. For a moment, he was consumed spirit. Early the next morning, he and Mr. Han went to the hospital to visit Victor. Having finally cleared the burden in his heart, Li Fong immediately apologized